What is up, go-getters? Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Tobile, where we have beyond the surface conversations for real impact. So today I felt like let's get personal and talk about my journey and how I got to be the person that I am and the journey that I had to walk in order to, be self-aware, as self-aware and confident as I am. So we're talking about my journey towards self-acceptance. And yeah, like a lot of things shape a person, or a lot of experiences shape a person. That's why I'm so strong on reflection. I'm strong on self-awareness and like being able to look at yourself from an outside view and kind of understand what is it that has shaped the person that you are. Because I believe that human beings, the one beautiful thing about us is that we've got the power to change ourselves at any given time. So my journey started as a teenager. Yeah, I think it's in my early teens where I was big, I was chubby. I was staying in Kushu in Pumalanga. It's quite hot. If you've been there, it's quite hot in Pumalanga. And I was walking to school. Yeah, I was walking to and from school. So my melanin popped up, if you know what I mean. But I was very dark. And people would feel the need to constantly tell me that I'm too dark, I'm ugly, I am too big, I'm chubby, I'm fat. That's the word that they would use. And I started believing those voices that were telling me that I'm ugly, I am not. Because by virtue of the fact that, people are telling me those things meant I did not belong to a certain stereotype. I did not belong to a certain classification. So I was already left out. I was the one who's not fitting into the system and the structure. So I was getting bullied a lot at school. My self-confidence was really affected. Like I would silence so many parts of my personality because I didn't want to stand out, just in case someone has got something to say about me if I stand out. So I silenced a lot of my personality. I remember I was wearing like long skirts, long dresses to cover my body, because then if I'm not standing out and if I'm not visible, then people won't have any comment about me and about how I looked. I was terribly bullied a lot. It led to me isolating and just wanting to spend time alone, because then if I'm by myself, nobody is gonna, say anything. Nobody's gonna comment on how I look and what they perceive me to be. And the journey from that to now this girl who's sitting in front of a camera right now filming this video and talking to you, from wherever you're watching this video from, the journey from that girl who silenced her personality, who did not want to be seen, who believed in those narratives that she was not good enough, who believed in those narratives that she wasn't meant to be seen in society because she was very ugly, she was very fat, she was very dark, she did not deserve a voice in society, or society did not have a place for her. A journey from that to where I am right now had to do with a lot of confrontation, with me confronting the narrative that was voluntarily handed and given over to me. The feeling of inadequacy. I had to confront those voices, and I had to confront the version of me that believed and heard and listened to those voices, the version of me that said it was okay. I can just bypass the voices and just silence myself. I can bypass the voices and just hide under clothes that, weren't fit to my true personality and who I was as a person. But I was using those clothes to kind of bypass the voices, because then if I don't stand out, no one's going to call me out, right? Because no one sees me. So as long as nobody sees me, then that's fine. The journey from that to here has had a lot to do with confronting the narrative head on, confronting those voices of those people that were saying all of those things about me that, led to me feeling and behaving and believing that perspective about myself and of myself. It had a lot to do with me confronting those voices and rewriting the narrative as well. Like fine, I understand that this is where we are. I understand how we got here, but how are we moving forward? After confronting these narratives, after crying about it, praying about it, journaling about it, trying to fix it, trying to fix me, trying to understand me outside of these narratives. Who am I? There's been a lot of that. There's been a lot of trying to rewrite this narrative of, but I am not what they say I am. I think I'm beautiful. Looking at myself on a consistent basis and telling myself, I am beautiful. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. And to try and believe that, because there were voices in my head of a lot of people telling me that I wasn't beautiful, but I had to rewrite the narrative. And for me, because I was in isolation, I was away from those voices and away from those people. It helped me a lot. So I think that's one of the things that can also help if someone or you are going through, being bullied and being called not good enough and all of these voices, to isolate from those voices. Because people who speak to you in that way do not have the best intentions for you. Whether they know it or not, they don't have the best intentions for you, or they are projecting their self-hatred towards you and they're not even aware of it. So it's either you confront them or you confront the narrative and the situation by stepping away from those people and finding your own journey of healing on your own way of healing. But for me, confronting the narrative meant a lot of letting go. It meant killing the part of me that believed I wasn't good enough in order for the part of me that believes I'm good enough, for that part to resurface. So I had to break it down in order to rebuild. I had to break down the narrative of what they thought and they decided I was, and what I believed I was based on what they were saying about me, in order for me to build the version of me that you see today. So I had to rewrite the narrative. And I think the third step towards self-acceptance for me primarily was rewriting my identity. I believe that life is a game. We'll talk about it in one of the videos where I'll go deep and have a deep dive into the deep dive into that. But I believe that life is a game and you choose your character. You create your character. You create your avatar. And when you have goals of what you want this avatar to achieve, then you dress this avatar with the armor that this avatar needs in order to pass stage 1 up to stage 10. And then what's the walk? How does this avatar walk? What are their weapons that they use in this game? How do they navigate the game? But that's what life is. And for me, I had to rewrite my entire identity. I had to decide that I am beautiful, and my version of what beautiful means is my version of what beautiful means. And I'm not going to let anyone tell me otherwise, because I believe, based on my standards, I believe I am beautiful. I have told myself that based on my standards, I believe I am beautiful. Based on my standards, I believe that I deserve to be heard. I deserve to be seen. I deserve to be, alive, and to show myself up, to come as I am. I deserve space in society. I had to rewrite that narrative. I had to recreate my personality from the person who was hiding, who believed she was not good enough, who believed that, she didn't have a place in society. I had to cut the cord between me and that girl. I had to love her so much, enough to cut the cord between me and her, and to say, but I'm moving forward as this person now. This is the person that I'm going to show up as. This is the narrative I'm going to believe about myself. I will tell this to myself on a daily basis until I believe it, until a new personality surfaces, until a new character comes into fruition. But I'm going to tell myself that I am good enough. I am beautiful. I am worthy of being seen. I have a space in this society. I deserve to be heard. Because if I didn't do that, the voices in my head and the people that were telling me I was not good enough would have won. They would have won the battle, because then I would have silenced myself and remained that girl. But I had to decide intentionally, as painful of a process as it was, because I had to kill certain aspects of myself in order for new versions of me to emerge. but I had to do it. In order for me to be the girl sitting in front of this camera talking to you today, I had to change my belief systems about myself. I needed to reconstruct and construct this version of me. She did not just happen. It is through self-awareness, through who am I? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to take my life? What are the things that I believe about myself that are not serving me? Why do I believe those things? How can I get rid of those voices? How can I cut the cord between me and that past version of me? How can I get where I want to go? How can I step away and move away from everything that no longer serves me in order for me to move into a life that I truly deserve and life that I truly want? And that was through really, constructive feedback from self to self by self, in a loving manner, in a manner that is caring, but also in a manner that is like, we cannot stay and remain here. We cannot be this person anymore. This person is not who we are. We have to move forward from here. And we have to heal everything that we've experienced and everything we've been through in order for us to progress forward. But if we stay here, this is not true to our version. This is not true to our life or where we are at the moment. So I had to really, really dig deep. That's why I advocate for self-awareness, because I feel if you do not know a product, you cannot sell a product. If you don't know yourself, how do you then show up to the world as yourself? If you haven't studied your triggers, if you haven't studied who you are as a person, if you haven't studied, things that make you, that get you going as a person, things that hold you back, if you don't know those things, then how are you able to bounce back from, setbacks? How are you able to bounce back from things that hold you back? If you do not have that internal conversation of like, I can do this, and I can do this because I've done this before. I've done this before because this and this and this and this. So from me to you, it's always nothing but love. If anything, I hope that my journey inspires you. I hope that my journey makes you realize that you also deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be loved. You are beautiful. And what beautiful means to you does not have to mean beautiful to the entire world. You have your own definition of what beauty means. I love you so much. I'll see you on the next vlog. From me to you, it's always nothing but love. Mwah.